Hey guys, this is Matt with Comax Gaming and welcome to another SourceMod tutorial. So last week we left off here checking if the argument 1 is longer or has more characters than 5. That means if this has more than 5 characters, then we're gonna throw this to the client and return. Now why are we doing this? Well, because this is gonna work like this, right? Tag, name, message. If we have a huge thing over here like that, it's not gonna look nice. So 5 characters is like okay, looks fairly okay, so that's good. So this is how the command works. So let me set that there with a comment. And well, we have the argument, so we want to assign it, right? Now for that we're going to create a variable up here called static string player tag, and of course we're gonna have 32 of these. That means we're gonna have one for each player, and well, it's just going to support 6 characters. Now I typed 6 in there as well as here because sometimes, I don't know if SourceMod does this, but some languages do not count the last character, which is a backslash 0. Backslash 0 means like nothing. It's something that is in every string that contains the end of the string. Like that symbol will represent the end of the string. It does that, nothing else. So yeah, player tag string for 32 players and 6 characters each. So now what we're gonna do is, let me see if I can, since it's the same, I can do the following. Since, oh my god, my mouse is being a fucking bitch. Wait a second. Since over here I have 6 and over here I have 6 as well, I can assign player tag the value of arg1 directly without having to format. Why? Because they are the same size. Let's do it again. Okay, as you can see it works, and now if I do 2, it works. However, if I type 9, it's gonna throw this, because we cannot assign this to this, because this is bigger than this, right? 9 is greater than 6, which means we cannot put something that has more characters and something that doesn't allow that, right? So since we have 6 or less, we can do a direct assignment, I think it's called, I don't know. So yeah, otherwise you would have to use a format, right? You know, the function format. Yeah. If you don't know how to use that, then just go back one of my videos. I use it a lot. So we're gonna assign that to player tag, right? And the next thing we want to do is do an SQL query, because we need to update that on the database. So SQL query database DB, yeah. Okay, here, hold on. We call this on map start, right? Yes. Okay. Okay, so what we're gonna do here is actually check. So we're gonna do a new function actually. Public put in DB and let's see, what do we need? We need a client, and we don't need the tag because we can get it after we assign it there. So okay, I'll just do client for now, but then if I need to use it, I'll just do it again. So first of all, we need to try to select all from I forget the name, user data. There we go. Select all from user data where SteamID equals SteamID. Now if you don't understand what I'm doing, then hold on for a second. Um, 32, I don't know. Get client of string client SteamID size of SteamID. Right? So what I do here is declare this variable, which is a string made up of 32 characters, and it's going to contain the client SteamID by using this function, right? So we type the client we want to get the SteamID from, and then we type the variable where we want to store that SteamID, in this case being SteamID. And then we perform an SQL query that it says DB for the database, right? Because it needs a database, or the handle to the database, and then the query as a string. So what I'm doing here is I'm trying to select select everything from user data where SteamID equals something. Now why I'm going to just do tag here, because all would include SteamID, and to optimize this we're just getting tag, right? So where SteamID equals, and use these, you need them, they are important. And then %s. %s means string, and when you do that in another string, it's going to replace this value or this character with this value. So when this is processed, %s is going to be replaced with the client SteamID. So we need to declare a new handle, which is query h, we're gonna call it that, and make it equal invalid handle. Oops. Okay. Now we are going to assign query h to SQL query, and then we're gonna say if that actually no, SQL underscore fetch row, there we go, and the query, as you can see, it needs a handle to the query. That's why I created this query h, because that's going to contain the value of this query. So it's going to perform this query, and then it's going to return everything here to this handle, and this handle is going to have the value that this returns, kind of, right? SQL fetch row is going to get the stuff we asked for. It's going to check, it's going to count and say, okay, I'm going to start from 0. If I can find this in this table, I'm going to add 1 to my value. And if I type, I don't know, imagine we have like a bunch of stuff in here, like a lot of content in our database. So it's gonna go 0, 1, 2. If this doesn't exist, it's just gonna jump to this one, right? So it's basically checking if it exists. Think of it that way. So if not SQL fetch row, meaning if this does not exist, then we want to create, right? Because there's nothing to update. So we are going to query, where is it? H. Oh my god, I'm doing, wait. Yeah, I have to my bad, I'm sorry. So here just make a new another string with the and call it query, just like that, and give it I don't know 100 just in case. And then we need to format now, right? Because wait a minute, size of query. As you can see, when it says string format that comma any, right? It says any colon dot dot dot. Now if we open SQL query, it doesn't say any dot dot dot, right? It says len equals -1. So trying to alter this with this in this function is just not gonna work. That's why we need to take this from here, put it here, and close it. Because since this allows this function format any colon dot dot dot, we are replacing this with this only here, right? Some other functions allow that as well, but SQL query obviously doesn't. That's why we need to format the query before sending it, and then with the handle we get the result, and then we check if that exists. So now we need to format again, so I'm gonna copy and paste this and modify it a bit. So we're going to insert into user data, insert into table name, so you can change this if you to the name you want, right? You can choose your name of a table. Insert into user data, and we want to insert the Steam ID, and then we want to insert the tag, right? So we type values. There's another way of doing this, but I like this way, not the other way. But that's just me, you know. And then we're gonna do always using single quotation marks to prevent errors, and then we get with the Steam ID. And then since we are assigning this up here player tag to the argument 1, we're going to copy this and paste it here. Okay, so player tag client, this is going to contain the value of the tag that the client types, right? So it's going to save it. So now we are just formatting this. So what I need to do is the same thing, just copy and paste. Since the variable has the same name, query age already exists. So now what we're gonna do is say if query age does not equal invalid handle, if this doesn't work, it's going to return this. So query age is going to equal that, right? But if it doesn't equal this, it means this worked. So if that works, then we want to print to chat, or to the client, and say SM, your tag has been modified and saved. Tag colon, and then we want to represent the tag over there. Okay. Else we want to print to chat and say your tag has not been modified. Dot, an error occurred. And then as you can see, we have error here. So what we're gonna do is SQL underscore get error. Now we need a handle to the database, a database or statement handle. I'm gonna check this later, but I think it's to the query, right? Not the database, but the query. So BRB. Actually, no, guys, it's the database. So the handle is going to be to the database and not to, well, me, or the handle to the query. And then we're going to use our global variable that we declared before called the error, and we are going to save what this throws in error, which is declared up here because it's global, right? We can use it anywhere in the code. And then we want to print to the server and say SQL error, and then be like that, and print out error. As you can see, print to server does allow me to format this in the statement or in the function arguments. So that's pretty useful, pretty handy. So we're gonna show this to the client and this to the server to know what happened. Now this is going to happen only if the player didn't have a tag saved before, meaning that this didn't happen, that this didn't exist. But if it did exist, that means we are modifying the client tag. That's where we're gonna copy and paste this code, and we have to change the query, right? Update the table name, which is user data, and we want to set SteamID equals that comma tag tag that, because the SteamID never changes. However, we want to have the SteamID here, but at the end. Why? Because here we want to type where, oh my god, SteamID equals, okay, what I'm doing, there we go. So we're doing the same thing we did up here. Here we are selecting and here we are updating. Here we try to select the tag from user data where the SteamID equals the client's SteamID. If this doesn't exist, it's because the client does not have a value in that database. That means that we need to create that. To create something in MySQL, we use insert. That's how you create something. So we're going to insert into user data these stuff which are declared here when we create the table. As you can see, SteamID and tag, and the values are going to be our SteamID and a player tag. Now, if this works, then we want to print this. If it doesn't, we want to print this to the client, get the error, and print this to the server. Now this if is done here, and this if is going to check if it didn't exist. But if it did exist, then we want to format and update user data, and we want to set the tag to this, which is going to be the new tag that the client chose, right? Where the SteamID equals that, because there is already an input in the database for this SteamID. So this is going to work. It's going to find the SteamID and it's going to modify what I want, which is this. Now this code is not updated and it might not work. It should work because it's most likely the same. But that is all for today, guys. I don't want to make this very long. I think 20 minutes is enough. So next week we are going to do probably the admin command to change it, and something else, and maybe it's going to be next part and then another, and then we're done. Thanks a lot for watching. Don't forget to rate the video up, subscribe to the channel, recommend me to your friends or whoever wants to learn SourceMod or anything. Just link them to me. If you need a plugin to be done, you can add me on Steam. And that's all, guys. Again, thanks for watching. I'll see you next week.